Hey there, welcome. I'm so happy that you can join me today. Today we'll be talking about something that is actually dear to my heart, drawing eyebrows. Well, I also love drawing the iris, but the eyebrows are also one of my top favorite features to draw. I'll be talking about them today. So, I'm Jason, and I focus mainly on helping beginners improve their drawing skills without wasting time on the beginner mistakes that many people make. So, if you want to learn how you can draw realistic looking eyebrows without making some mistakes so that they can give you the basic tips that you need to know, make sure you stick around to the end and we'll be finding that out. I'm Jason, and this is Jason Legendary Art. So I've already gone ahead to fill the eyes already. I've drawn the iris, I've drawn the eyelids, I've basically finished the project. But then I thought that I'd make a tutorial on drawing the eyebrows. So we're actually going to go through some pointers, some tips that you need to keep in mind when drawing your eyebrows. So let's just get rid of this drawing for some time and let's get into the tips. So the first tip you want to keep in mind is that you want your lines to be thick at the bottom and pointy at the top. So don't just draw blank and bland looking lines like I'm doing here. Make sure that they are thick at the bottom and pointy when they get to the top, like I'm drawing on this second side. Like it's just like you are flicking from the bottom upward. So flick like that and you get that right. If you're finding it hard to do these strokes, practice a few strokes like this on your own before you actually move into the original drawing. Number two tip you want to keep in mind is that you don't want your lines to be uniform. You don't want them to follow the same pattern. You want to diversify. What do I mean by diversify? What I mean is that you want to create different lines. Like for example, some will touch at the tip, some will cross when they get to the top, some will be single. Just creating various kinds of lines like this will all help your drawings look more realistic. So number three tip you want to keep in mind is that you don't want to draw straight lines. Well, unless maybe that is what your reference tells you, but make them curved. They can curve upwards like I'm doing now, or they can curve at the bottom, underneath, below, I don't know, but make them curve in different angles, different ways. In fact, if you're feeling like it and if that's what is in your reference, you can go ahead and draw some wavy kind of lines. Just make sure that they are pointy at the top. So wavy lines, curvy lines, all of this will make your eyebrows have variety and they are going to look a lot cool. So let me go ahead and draw a demo eyebrow so I can also point out the fourth tip here. The eyebrow goes in certain directions. Like for example, when you get into the inner corner of the eyebrow, they face the other way like that as you make your lines curve. But then as they get to the end, they go in the opposite direction. It's just like a side V. They go in the opposite way. So make sure that you get that right. So this is what I mean. They flicker from the bottom upward, going into that direction. But then as you get into the end, the outer corner of the eyebrows, you go in the opposite direction, drawing it like a V. I actually learned this tip from Chris Samba. Yes, he was one of my really great artists that I learned a lot from. So make sure you follow this tip. This tip alone can take your eyebrows to the next level. The next tip that we'll be talking about is the rows of the eyebrows. You see, I figured out in a couple of photographs that the eyebrows actually grows in multiple rows. Like for example, like I'm going ahead here to draw the eyebrows at the bottom row. Some will grow at the bottom, some will grow at the top here like this. You would find that once you combine all of these tips together, your eyebrow drawing will be a lot better. So after taking note of all of these tips, let's move on to the real deal, a real life scenario. Let's test this out in real life. And hopefully I actually follow all my rules. So right now I'm just going with my 2B graphite pencil, and I'm trying to make those strokes go in the direction of the eyebrows. We talked about how the pattern of the eyebrow flows. So make sure that your strokes are going in this direction, going toward the outer corner of the eyebrows. You also want to look at your reference so that you create the best looking eyebrows as possible. We are going the opposite direction. When you get into the outer corner of the eyes, the hairs will go in a V kind of shape. So you want to make sure that you are creating these lines so that they can look realistic. Also remember that you make your lines thick at the bottom, then sharp at the top. Thick at the bottom, pointy at the top. Sometimes I might diversify those lines and I might make it thick at the top and pointy at the bottom. Just make sure that you are flicking your strokes. So after the first layer of strokes, I'm going in with my brush and graphite powder to blend the strokes so that they are seamless and they are smooth, because there will be some imperfect strokes and some white areas that I would like to close in this drawing. So going in with my brush and graphite powder will close those white areas. Dust off the excess powder. Don't carry too much powder into the drawing. Dust off the excess powder, then you can bring into your drawing and then get things looking smooth. The kind of eyebrow you are drawing will determine the kind of pattern and kind of techniques you will take. Like for example, if the eyebrow hairs are not particularly black, you may not want to use a charcoal pencil to draw the eye. You may want to stick with the graphite pencil. But the eyebrows that I am trying to draw here are very, very dark, so I have no choice but to go with my charcoal pencil. So now I'm going in with my charcoal pencil to emphasize those lines, those eyebrow hairs that are going into the direction. I'm trying to use my charcoal pencil to make those lines, and you can see I'm going in different direction. I'm making it thick at the bottom, pointy at the top, thick at the top, pointy at the bottom, making sure that I'm flicking my strokes. Make sure you actually flick your strokes. This is the key to making your eyebrows look realistic. If your strokes don't have variety and they are just thick at the top, thick at the bottom, they won't look realistic. So make sure you flicker so that one end of your strokes is actually pointy and light. One of the things you also want to remember is follow exactly what your reference tells you. There may be some variations in the eyebrows that you are drawing from, so make sure you look at the reference photo, see the way and the direction in which the air flows, so that you can make your drawings too to go in that direction. And of course, after that thick layer of charcoal, we have to blend and smoothen things. So I'm going with my brush this time to make things smooth. If you don't have a brush, very simple, you can get a Q-tip, cotton bud, earbud, smoothen things out. You might also use a blending stump, but most experts wouldn't advise you to use blending stumps when drawing your eyebrows. But well, go ahead and use whatever you like, but I prefer using the brush. The eyebrow, like I said, is very dark, so I'm going now with my 6B charcoal pencil to darken things even more. Most people will leave the eyebrow just like this. I'm sure that many of you would leave the eyebrow like this, and I could, but I just had this urge, this feeling to keep going and to make it as dark as it was meant to be. Everyone knows I like saying as it was meant to be. Now, to create the highlights, I'm pinching my kneaded eraser so that I mark out the highlights on the eyebrows. So I'm looking for areas that the charcoal pencil did not touch too much, and then the areas that are kind of white. So I'm pinching my kneaded eraser and marking those white areas instead. If you mark with your kneaded eraser on some areas that are very dark, you wouldn't see much progress. You wouldn't see it light up like that. So make sure you look for areas that are somehow white and then mark with your kneaded eraser on that spot. I have to tone things down. It's too bright. If your highlights are too bright, they won't look as realistic. So go ahead with your brush or your Q-tip and tone down the highlights. If you find that you also need to increase the highlights again, go in with your kneaded eraser and make things white. So that is basically it for drawing realistic eyebrows. I really hope you enjoyed the video. So we are done with drawing eyebrows. You can see I did not draw the eyelashes in this drawing yet, because the next tutorial will be about drawing eyelashes. So make sure you check the description below on how you can draw realistic looking eyelashes. Check the description. And also, if you like to see how I draw the whole eye, the eyelash, the eyebrows, the iris, the white of the eye, click the box at the right hand corner so that you can find out how I actually draw the whole eye. But if you also want to find out how I put the eye, the nose, the mouth, everything into one single face, click the box at the top left corner instead, so that you can learn how you can draw a complete face. Anyway guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.